All right, welcome back. It's Stop the Steal Money Monday, and we got a lot to talk about, okay? I had an in-depth discussion this morning with my good friend, Dr. Patrick Byrne. He was the former CEO and founder of Overstock.com. This guy is like a tech genius. He's like a wizard, okay? And he has assembled this team of ethical hackers, data scientists, database folks, and they are taking all of the publicly available information, scraping through it, and proving empirically that there were irregularities in certain targeted cities in this country, like Detroit, like Philadelphia, like Pittsburgh, like Atlanta, like Maricopa County. Okay, so there are states, targeted swing states, that saw these huge spikes in ballots that came in while the polling places were supposedly closed. And what Patrick Byrne is telling me is this, that they have so much information that proves categorically, in his view, that there were forces at work here through the Hammer and Scorecard application. Hammer and Scorecard, for those of you who don't know, Hammer was this huge supercomputer that was invented by the CIA years ago, okay? And it was a way for us to monitor foreign elections, and we can get involved in foreign elections by slanting them to get the administrations in place that we, the U.S., wanted, okay? And then when Obama became president in 2008, he and his CIA decided, well, we have this great supercomputer, and why don't we add a little software piece to it, and the Hammer can have its own scorecard, and as those ballot totals are transported from the polling place to the central server, we can intervene. And the thing you're not realizing is this, believe it or not, the way the ballots are being counted, they're being counted in percentages, okay? And we have found out that there are 7 precincts in Detroit where there were more votes cast than registered voters. There was 120% overvote, so 20% more people voted than all the registered voters. There was a 200% overvote, which means double the people voted that were registered to vote. So if you don't think there's a problem in Michigan, think again, okay? Because the problem and the evidence are coming to light. Some people, many people are saying, oh no, Trump's team put out this statement yesterday saying that Sidney Powell's no longer part of the team. I got all that information right from my buddy Patrick Byrne. I call him the Kraken Whisperer, you know what I mean? He's like the outside man, but he's such a patriot that he's funding operations independently to make sure that the legal team, both Sidney Powell and Trump's legal team, have all of the data information at their fingertips to prove to the judges that there was serious technological chicanery going on. And if you were watching over the weekend, Chief Justice John Roberts had to fill a vacancy. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was overseeing the First Circuit Court here in New York. When she passed on, there was a vacancy there, and Justice Breyer was doing double duty, his circuit plus the First Circuit. Justice Roberts came in and had to reassign all the districts. For those of you who don't understand this, there are 9 district courts. And when the federal courts have to appeal something or they need some guidance from a higher court, each justice has a circuit that they oversee. And if you take a look at the way they reshuffled things, it's really working out, it looks like, in a fantastic way for Donald Trump and his effort to prove that he actually won the election. So you have Amy Coney Barrett, you have Alito in Pennsylvania, you have Kavanaugh, and you have Gorsuch in the 4 key states. You have Pennsylvania, you have Wisconsin, you have Michigan, you have Georgia. And all those states, we have a Trump appointee sitting there on the bench. And it sure looks like if we can get a case, here you go. Here's who's in charge now. The civil courts have been reassigned effective Saturday. Brett Kavanaugh is in Michigan. Amy Coney Barrett is in Wisconsin. Sam Alito is in Pennsylvania. and Clarence Thomas is in Georgia. Now, Clarence Thomas, of course, is not a Donald Trump appointee, but if you hearken back to the days when he was trying to get approved as a Supreme Court justice, one of the people highly opposed to him was none other than Senator Joe Biden, who gave him quite the dress down back then. And I was sure, while Clarence Thomas is a great objective jurist, I'm sure he's going to remember, as we all would do through human nature, that Joe Biden really took aim at him and tried to prevent him from becoming a justice. Now, Sidney Powell has gone on the record. She's currently banned from Twitter for 12 hours, but hopefully she's back soon, okay? Sidney Powell has come out and said there is evidence that Governor Brian Kemp had some incentive to do a last-minute deal with Smartmatic to use their voting booths and their voting software in the state of Georgia. So I talked to my guy, Dr. Patrick Byrne, today, who's on the outskirts of this team, but doing a lot of data work for both legal teams. And he tells me that there is clear evidence that members of the Kemp inner circle have received some kind of benefits, not like a dinner or a ticket to a show or something like that, some tangible benefits from Smartmatic and Dominion. So we see a Smartmatic employee who was with Smartmatic for 12 years. She's now in Michigan. She's a mayor in one of these townships where there were crazy irregularities, okay? There's another guy, his name is Hyder Garcia, who was with Smartmatic for over 10 years. And Hyder Garcia now is the chief Board of Elections official in Tarrant County, Texas. Now, Tarrant County, here's a weird one, okay? Tarrant County, Texas has not been blue, has not voted for a Democrat since 1964. Okay, so nearly 60 years, this little Tarrant County in Texas has been a blue city, okay? They just hired Hyder Garcia, former executive from Smartmatic, and guess what? Lo and behold, in 2020, for the first time in 60 years, Tarrant County, Texas went red. Okay, now if you do a little homework, and if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I was the one who broke the news first that Smartmatic and Dominion were the birth of these other companies that owned it, shell companies to Venezuela, that go back to servers of France, that go to Germany. All this stuff is out there. But these guys at Smartmatic and Dominion, they ran an election in 2010 in the Philippines, and they got called in for fraud. And in the hearings, Hyder Garcia himself, who's now the Board of Election Commissioner in Tarrant County, Texas, he went out there in the Philippines and said, we had irregularities that were unexpected where votes were changed. He admitted it. And now he's the head of elections in a town that hasn't been blue in 60 years. But when he comes to town, it seems like whenever a Smartmatic executive comes to town, somehow or another, those cities turn blue pretty quick. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back right after this with Joe Pinion from Newsmax.